Boom. What's up, everybody? Welcome back to another episode of the Pit Life Barbecue Podcast, where everything we talk barbecue and a lot of other topics that we talk around the pit. Coming to you from the Uncle Steve Shake Studios in Center Barnstead, New Hampshire. What's up, everybody? Thank you all for tuning back in. Hope everybody is recovered from Thanksgiving. And the Christmas season is upon us fully now. And my chaos at work will kick off bright and early at 3 a.m. tomorrow morning. And that's that. I'll be gone till basically Christmas Eve. The 23rd would be the last day because luckily this year, Christmas Eve falls on a Sunday, so that'll be nice. But we're having another fun episode. Like I had told everybody that for the December ones we're recording because of the hours that, I can't guarantee I'm going to be back up this way. Oh, I can guarantee that I will not be back here by 8 o'clock on Monday nights. So we're doing some recordings on Sundays, and thank you everybody that has been on, making time on their Sundays to come on and talk. But like I said, Uncle Steve's Shake Studios. Today brought to you obviously by Uncle Steve. Check out all his 15 amazing flavors, the sauce with no name. His Facebook group, Uncle Steve Shake Nation, and UncleSteveShake.com for all your ordering of the rubs, the sausages. Got my mind on some food there, Ken. Sauces, and all your holiday gift needs. Got some T-shirts, hats, things like that. But also during the holiday season, Steve has brought back the holiday gift pack. I believe it is a 12-pack. I believe, I'm not 100% sure, but it's a 12-pack of all the seasonings, nice little sampler. But this year, they're all hand-packed. So if there's a seasoning you'd like that doesn't come in the standard pack, just in the comments, tell him what you handpick your own gift pack, and he'll make it happen for you. And also tell him that Johnny Mag sent you, and you might get an extra little something in your package. So check that out at UncleSteveShake.com and follow Uncle Steve's Shake Nation on Facebook for all the latest updates, recipes, and everything shake. Uncle Steve Shake, shake some on everything. So I am excited. I've known this gentleman, at least 4 or 5 years now. We met through a mutual friend of ours in the barbecue world, Steve Ray from the Owl's Nest Barbecue. And, this is what happens when you get into the chats. You get to meet some great people, interesting. So without any further ado, let's get this rolling. And please welcome my good friend all the way from the volunteer state of Tennessee, Mr. Ken Smith. Ken, what's up, brother?
Hey, not much, Johnny. Thanks for having me on the show today, buddy. Appreciate it.
Oh, man, it's a pleasure. It's a pleasure. I know we had tried last year, and you had some travel plans, and we just couldn't make it happen. But here we are today, getting it done. We're going to talk about all types of stuff. But please introduce yourself. Tell us a little bit about you.
Well, Ken Smith's my name. You already said that. Live in Jamestown, Tennessee. I moved here from Nashville a couple years ago. Have several podcasts. I have one that's called North Pole News Dispatch, and I have another one called Faces to Places, and I'm into barbecuing and grilling. I'm not the level that you are, Johnny, or uh, definitely not the level that of your guests that you have on there. But I'm a backyard griller, but I still like to cook good food. So I watch a lot of YouTubes and talk to a lot of people. I started out barbecuing with the idea that I might want to get into contest one day, but man, it is so. Once I got into it and started talking to people and learning about it, I was like, no, this is way more involved. I don't have the time for all this,
Yeah,
so I'm a backyard griller.
that's nice. That's nice. Yeah, the competition world, that's a different animal for sure.
Mm-hmm.
You
Sure is.
know, like you're saying, everything that goes into it, because you're not just cooking in the backyard. You know,
Mhm.
you're going for that one bite for the judges. You know, and depending on which organization that is hosting that event, you know, so be it, KCBS, or down in Tennessee, you have the Memphis Barbecue Network, or
Mhm.
right next door, the Georgia Barbecue Society, things like that. You know, you're cooking anywhere from two to four meats, and the time frame and all of that,
There's
and
a lot to it, man. People don't realize.
then the cost now
Mhm.
is sometimes it's astronomical.
Yeah, and people don't realize how good those guys are. Even if you're not well known, if you're doing good in the barbecue competition world, man, people don't realize how good they are because you got to be able to cook in all kind of conditions.
Hmm.
Rain and sleet and snow sometimes, and the temperature changes. Because I've noticed up here. I moved up here to Jamestown, and this is a little mountain town. It's only about 1,800 people live up here, but the altitude is higher. And so, man, the cook times are way different. It takes longer, and it's crazy how I'm still not used to it, but I'm getting there.
Oh yeah, that altitude can wreak havoc on your cook, because like I said, it affects the temperatures so much.
Mhm.
You really got to know what temperatures you need to pull off on,
Yeah.
and craziness. A lot of few of the guys I know, one of my friends, Mark Williams from Swine Life Barbecue, he cooks every year up in Galax, Virginia.
Mhm.
And he was saying, his first year up there, I couldn't get my brisket past, 196, 197. And it was all due to, the altitude.
Yeah,
But
it makes a big difference because I don't have the big cookers like you have and some of those guys because I'm just a backyard. Man, I don't even have a pellet grill, dude. I stick with my Weber, but I have like 3 Webers and I have 2 pit barrels and then a Weber Smoky Mountain. But the pit barrels, I used to in Nashville, man, I would run it. I don't know if you're familiar with it, but it has a vent on it and I just run it like a quarter open. Up
mhm,
here, man, I've got to run it wide open. I mean, wide open to get my temps up the way they should be.
yeah,
It's crazy the difference.
yeah. And that's a big part of the competition game itself also, especially for the guys who really, really do some traveling.
Mhm.
Up here in the Northeast, it's obviously New Hampshire, Maine, Vermont, Massachusetts, Rhode Island, Connecticut, and uh we'll throw New York and New Jersey too. That's
Mhm.
that's pretty much, if we're gonna travel, though that's our area that we go. We got a couple guys like my friend Billy Gillespie. He goes everywhere. He's cooked the Jack, I think, the past 11 years, the American Royal, and he'll go all over the country.
Mhm.
But there's so much stuff that goes into it. But so the backyard, that's where we all started. So
Hmm.
there's nothing wrong with that, and you can still, throw down some incredible stuff, on the Webbers, on the barrels.
Hmm.
Anybody who's ever asked me, hey, just getting into this, what do you think I should get for my first cooker? And I always say, and so does a lot of people, go out and buy yourself a 22-inch Weber kettle.
Yes, absolutely.
The price range, it's not going to break the bank. You can see if you like it, first off, for relative. I know the prices have jumped in the past couple years, but you could get the base model Weber kettle for $100,
Hmm. Yeah.
and see if you like it. Because if you don't, you still got a charcoal grill
Right.
for the direct heat stuff instead of the setting up your coals for that low and slow, hours upon hours
Right.
cooks.
Hmm.
So that's the way to do that.
Yeah, man.
But yeah,
Because the Weber, uh, you know, uh, with the Weber, you can do anything you want on that thing. You can cook right over the coals if you're grilling something like for steaks or whatever. You can do a two-zone fire. Uh, they got a thing of Vortex that you can
oh,
get to go on there, and it's like a cone shaped. And I'm sure you know what it is, but it's a round cone shaped piece of metal that put your coals in there, and it directs all the heat like a jet engine. It focuses all the heat straight up, and then it hits that round top
hmm
of the kettle, and it recirculates, and it gets really hot in there. It gets a lot hotter than normal, and you can like chicken wings and stuff, man. God, it does the best chicken wings ever.
oh, absolutely. Yeah, that I always said that the Vortex is a chicken cooking machine.
It is. It is because I started. I'm kind of getting known for my chicken wings around here now because I started. I used to put mayonnaise, Cuddleman mayonnaise, and put my seasonings and everything on there.
Hmm
But man, I just once I started using duck fat, I just never looked back after that.
Oh yeah, the duck fat is amazing.
Just spray on duck fat, put my seasoning on there, and then about an hour, 45 minutes, something like that. And I pull them off, man, and I just toss them in. Man, I'm gonna tell you what makes them great, and it's so easy. It's just that raspberry chipotle, that blues hog
Yep, the
seasoning.
Champions blend.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Hmm. Man, you just
Oh
pull them
no,
out.
not yeah,
Not
no, no, not the Champions blend. The actual, yeah, it's the raspberry chipotle. Yeah.
Yeah, and just toss them in that, and man, you're good to go. People think you're a master cook, and it's like, no, I just threw them on there and checked on them in like 45 minutes, and then
Yeah.
tossed them in a little sauce. This, but
Yeah.
that's more my style of cooking right there. Things that are easy, but just you get a lot of bang for your buck. So
Yeah.
that's what I like.
And with that Vortex, you can really get that crispy skin.
Hmm. Sure can.
I've done, I do a lot of chicken, especially on the Weber kettle with the Vortex, and I've even with my wings, I'll mix my seasoning with cornstarch,
Okay.
and that cornstarch, however the science works on it, but you can almost, it crisps up the skin so well. You actually have to, you're amazed because you think it's actually deep fried,
Hmm.
because that cornstarch just pulls out all the moisture and just crisps it up beautifully.
Yeah.
But yeah, I've been doing that a few years now, and oh, it's the best.
Yeah, I've heard that, but I've never tried the cornstarch. I guess I need to. Need to give it
Yeah,
a shot.
it's a changer. You got to play with it a little bit because you don't want to use too much, because
Mhm.
it'll clump up in spots, but yeah, it's incredible. It's incredible. But
There's something else about that since we're talking about the Vortex and the Weber and everything. The way I cook burgers, man, is I turn that Vortex upside down because it's larger on the bottom.
Yep.
So I just turned it upside down, still put it in the middle, and then I cook burgers. I put them right over that for like 2 or 3 minutes on each side to get them a good sear, and then pull them off on the outside where the cool zone is, and let them finish
Mhm.
off there. And that way you can get them to the right temperature, and they got that char on the outside a little bit. It's
Oh,
a good way to do them
nice.
there.
And, actually, when we were talking the other night, you told me a little burger recipe that I have
Mhm.
yet to try, but I'm going to. Tell us a little bit about your secret in burger ingredient.
Yeah, this is something, I just got this from Malcolm Reed, and tried it, and man, I hadn't looked back since. But with your with your hamburger, you start out with the 80/20, get a pretty lean burger. But you put in 2 tablespoons, you add 2 tablespoons of mayonnaise to the ground beef, and you mix it up, and mix it up. Don't overhandle it, just kind of mix it in there pretty good. Then make your patties and put them in the fridge for 15, 20 minutes, however long it takes your coals to get lit. But what that does, when you put them in the fridge, it kind of firms it up a little bit, makes the
Mhm.
patties a little firm. Because when you put the mayonnaise in there, it's kind of makes it kind of loose feeling, and you're like, at first you think this is not going to stay together, but it does once you put it back in the fridge. And man, it makes the juiciest burger that you've ever had in your life. I'll never cook another one without it if I could, unless I have to.
Oh, wow.
But also I started putting the seasoning in with the ground beef before I cook it.
Mhm.
I don't know why I started putting it on the outside, just and then throwing it on the grill. But um, started mixing it because Malcolm was talking about he mixed his seasoning in the meat
Yeah.
before he cooks it. So that's what I started between that and the mayonnaise in there. I mean, there's no need to look any further as far as I'm concerned. I just put for every pound, put like a half a teaspoon of salt in there, and then 2 teaspoons of black pepper. That's it, man. Call it good.
Oh, beautiful. Now, is it 2 was it tablespoons of mayonnaise?
Mhm.
And is that 2 per every 1 pound of ground
Right.
beef?
Mhm.
Okay.
Like, for instance, the other day I got a 2.5 pound, uh, thing, of ground beef from the store, so that was 5
Okay.
tablespoons,
Okay.
and you think, "Is that too much?" And then when you're mixing it up, because you don't wanna overhandle it, because that's what makes your burgers, firm and, kinda tough, just handle it the least amount that you can when you're mixing it up to get it mixed up, and then pat your burgers out. Then if you have to stack them on top of each other, you better put you some, like some wax paper or something, if you're stacking them on top of each other
Yeah.
in the fridge just so they don't stick. And buddy, they're I promise. Try it.
I will. I
And try
definitely.
try it and then get back with me and see what you think.
All right. All right. So you you were saying you don't have a pellet grill at all, but
Mhm.
if you're in the market, I know a guy down in your neck of the woods who would be more than happy to steer you in the right direction.
Yeah.
That is our good friend Steve Ray
Mhm.
from the Owl's Nest Barbecue Pro Shop and Show and the Midnight Oil. So it's a great. Obviously, you've been to his store,
Mhm. Many times.
folks. We went down last year when I was going down to Texas to pick up the pit, and it's a one-stop shop. You can go in, get your oil, get a tank of gas, your oil changed, 4 new tires, and leave with a grill, injections, rubs, charcoal, sauces,
He has
and
everything.
depending if you catch it right, you can have a couple hot dogs for lunch.
That's right, man. That's right. He's into hot dogs as well too. He
Oh yeah.
he's been Yeah, the last time I was down there, I got a couple hot dogs from him. But Steve's been trying to put a pellet grill on me, but I call it. I mean, I know it has. I know there's a lot of people love them. I can see why people would love them because the convenience of it. But I call it the dark side. I tell him every time. I always says, "No, I'm not. I'm not going to the dark side, man. I'm traditional here. I'm staying with my Weber and my barrel. And if I get to where I can cook the stuff on the Weber and the barrel to its most potential, I'll be cooking some good food."
Mm-hmm. And I was in this. I was in the same boat with you. It's oh, it's a set it and forget it, and anybody can do it,
Mm-hmm.
and then I actually won one
Yeah.
that my friend Rick
Did you?
Galindo, he does a lot with Green Mountain Grills,
Mhm.
and they gave him the what they call now the Trek, the GMG Trek, which was before it might have been the Davy Crockett originally. So
Mhm.
it's the small travel one, camping
Yeah,
size,
I'm familiar with that one. I really
and oh, it's incredible. It's
am.
incredible,
Is it? See,
and
don't be telling
it
me that, man.
it can I can't lie to you. It's an awesome cooker, and it 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 also helps. Depending on what you got going, if you're really busy,
Mhm.
it and you can cook at the same time, it's amazing because that Trek I've done chicken, I've done burgers, wings. I did a 10-pound pork butt on it. It fits beautifully, plenty of room in there. And all I had to do was set the temp and then make sure it didn't run out of pellets. And it produced an incredible pork butt.
Yeah.
Yes, I will say not as high of a smoke flavor as I'm
Mhm.
used to, obviously, if you on a stick burner or doing it on the two zone with a kettle and wood
Mhm.
chunks,
Yeah.
but still put out an amazing product. And yeah, I changed my tune a little bit.
See, that's people like you tell me that, and I'm like, and I start as we're talking, I'm thinking, yeah, that's maybe I can, but then like, well, that's something else I got to learn. you know, but I'm retired these days, man. So I got time to. I don't have to be in a hurry about cooking.
Yeah,
You know.
for sure. For sure. But yeah, but Steve Ray, awesome guy. And that's how you and I first met
Mhm.
was when he was doing his Owl's Nest barbecue show. Um, you know, we met in the chat room,
Yeah. Yeah.
and
Yeah. I love Steve, man. Steve is a good guy. I
yeah.
mean, he's the unofficial mayor of Ottawa. He,
Oh, he is.
he should be the mayor. I mean, he knows everybody, and if he don't know what you need, then he'll find somebody that does know
Oh,
what
for
you need and
sure.
where you can get it. So
For sure. But I obviously anybody watching has seen the two coffee mugs.
yeah,
So thank you
yeah,
so much, brother.
yeah.
I
Always,
appreciate that. The North Pole News Dispatch coffee mug. But to keep the tradition rolling of
hmm
what goes in that particular mug, you also sent me a couple bags of the unofficial, official coffee of the North Pole News Dispatch, community coffee. There's the glow.
There you
Coffee and chicory.
go. Yeah, that's my favorite.
Ken, this is amazing.
Well, good. I'm
I
glad you
absolutely
liked it, man.
love it. Now it says it's a New Orleans style coffee blend with roasted chicory.
hmm
Now we were trying. if you Google it, chicory is like a root,
Mm-hmm.
and the flavor gets, like you said, it has a little spice to it.
Yeah,
And
it's not much, but it's there
yeah,
if you focus on it, So
but yeah, thank you so much for that. I'm gonna enjoy that. I'm gonna enjoy my coffee mug and everything. So, thank you so much. That was awesome of you.
you're very welcome. You're very welcome.
So when we were talking, obviously you are a barbecuer and
Mm,
griller, but also you're a podcast host.
yep, yep.
And you started originally with the Faces to Places podcast,
Mm-hmm.
which was great and is great. Um, Tell us a little bit about that, and you know, almost what category it falls under, because it's different.
Mm-hmm. Well, Faces to Places is a podcast. We have a show here around here locally called Tennessee Crossroads, and it's kind of similar to that, but just the audio version. But it's where I get out on my motorcycle mostly, and I ride to places and do interviews with people, and but it's at their shop or their store or their barn or their farm or their house, just wherever it is. So whenever I record, I'm taking the listeners to the actual location, where you can hear the surroundings and I and kind of actually be there. But it's about on my logo it says all things Americana, faces to places, all things Americana. And I started doing this podcast because I'm getting older, and there's a lot of things that I grew up with that's going away now. And
Yeah.
the younger folks don't really know about it, hadn't heard about it. And so I'm so I started for that reason. And another reason I started was because I was just out on my bike riding through the countryside, and I was running across all these cool places and these interesting people. And I'm like, man, it would be nice to do a podcast about that, and talk to these people and get their stories, because everybody has a story. And just because they're not popular don't mean they don't have a good story, or they're not well known, should I say.
Hmm.
So it kind of started with that. So I guess it falls in the Americana, not really travel category, probably more human interest, I guess you would say, category.
Yeah, because you've done a bunch of episodes with it, and I just brought it up on the phone because I was trying to remember a name of one of the guests, but the last episode you had was the bar MB Mobile Welding and Fabrication,
Hmm.
and if I'm not mistaken, like you said, you're at the shop
Right.
and you hear everything that's going on. Is that the one that he had? It was I think it was on his, might have been on his property, and had the chickens.
Yeah. Yeah.
The
That
chickens
was
were
the
running
one.
around and clucking, and the
Yeah.
roosters were crowing, and
Man, they can. There was a big rooster come walking right in the shop there, man. And I couldn't hardly talk because I was distracted. I was like, "Is this rooster gonna jump on me?" Because when I was a kid, I mean, like 4 years old, I got flogged by a big old rooster at my
oh,
grandparents' house. Scared me to death and left me traumatized, man. So this big rooster comes walking in there. And, we're sitting there in his shop, and I'm like, "Man, there's a big rooster right there." These chickens around. But he's got a
yeah,
lot of them, they get the eggs and everything, so but yeah, yeah, that was Brandon. He had a good story. He was, in the military, uh, wanted to be a welder in the military, didn't you're at the needs of the Army, so they assigned him to, I forget what they called it, but it's where he, works on all the firearms and everything, and
hmm,
but anyway, so he got out and started welding and did pipeline work and He'd been all over the country. So he was telling some stories about his experiences going all over the country with it and what's going on now. And he's unique because he has a shop, but his thing is going out to people on farms and fixing their tractors or just whatever they have, just whatever they need welded. But yeah, it's stuff like that. He has a good story. And like the one before that, I think, was Clara Hines. Man, she's 100 years
Yes.
old, dude. She's 100 years old, and she lives out on this road. It's called Squirrel Flat. She lives up on top of this mountain, and she has you look out the back of her house and it just looks down over a valley. But she was interested, man, because she was driving up until she was 99 years old. You believe that? And the real
Unbelievable.
only reason she quit is because she fell and broke her arm, and they can't really fix it, so it's just still broken, and she's living with it. But yeah, she was driving till she was 99 years old, but she had some interesting stories talking about Roosevelt, president, and how the Great Depression, they almost starved to death, during the Great Depression, and how Roosevelt created jobs. Because there was no jobs up here at that time. And so he created jobs that would move from family to family. It would go to one family and last for 2 weeks, and then it would move to the next family. And so everybody at least had some money. It
Yeah.
wasn't much, but they had some. And she just told just how coffee was a premium. They would get coffee, and her mom they'd give their coffee to their mom, because her mom really liked coffee. And I don't know. It's just interesting hearing old people,
Yeah.
older people talk like that, tell stories of a life that most of us uh, have never experienced, and just realize how good we have it, today's world.
100%. 100%. And yeah, that they're all great episodes. And I know you traveled down to, the Jack Daniels distillery on an episode.
I went down there.
Um,
That was very interesting.
yeah.
Got a private tour, man. That was so cool.
Yeah.
They took me around, yeah, and told the guy took me around, and whenever you don't have distractions of a group and they take their time with you, it was great, man. Uh, Learning about all that, learned a lot about it while I was there.
Yeah.
And then there was one of my favorite ones. Talking about chickens was let's see, what was the title of that one? It's Rita Hines, the 12 mile an hour queen, I think it was the name of it.
Yes. Yeah.
Well, she is dude, she's like 67 years old, and she does tractor pulls. That's in West Tennessee. I drove all the way to West Tennessee, and she does tractor pulls. And I'm not a big tractor pull guy, but since then I've kind of started paying attention to it. But anyways, yeah, so her and her husband does tractor pulls, but she gets out there she has a big blue Ford tractor, and man, she does tractor pulls at her age, doing wheelies down through there, and it's crazy, man. It's crazy because those tractors, they're like dragsters on
Yeah.
a tractor frame. It's crazy. But yeah, at her age and female, there's very few females that do that, but she gets right in there with them, man. She wins a lot of times. So it was interesting because I was at her place um, in West Tennessee. It's all agriculture land there, and there was corn on all four sides of her house, man. Just as far as you could see, it was just corn, and we were right there in the middle of it. And uh, and of course, they have a big barn over to the side, but she has chickens around there, and they was coming up. She was feeding them marshmallows, man. It was crazy. But yeah, so but you could hear them in the background. It was just, I just have a lot of fun with that podcast.
Yeah.
A lot of human interest stories.
Oh, absolutely. And like I was telling you the other night when we were talking, you were talking about possibly thinking about coming up this way
Mm-hmm.
over the summer. and I had told you, I go, oh, I have a place for that would be perfect for the Faces to Places, and that's probably about 45 minutes north of me in Meredith, New Hampshire,
Hmm.
a place called Hart's Turkey Farm, where every day is Thanksgiving.
So it sounds
And
like my kind of place for sure.
oh yeah, the entire menu is turkey. Every way you can imagine, from the traditional turkey dinner, Thanksgiving dinner, to, turkey nuggets for the kids, turkey parmesan, turkey chili soups, and it's absolutely incredible. Family owned business, one family since I want to say probably right around the mid 50s. They opened up and still going strong. The decor is great, very interesting. They have on the walls all like Chinaware,
Hmm.
but they're all um, turkey designed. So like the painted serving plates, the dishes, the a bread plate, but all that painted porcelain china, all turkey themed. All
Hmm.
of it, it's incredible. But that would be a perfect place to stop to do an episode there.
Yeah, it'd be great, man, if we could work something out where I could meet with somebody, and like I said, I'd go to them, set up. I've got a where I can easily put everything fits in a backpack, and
Hmm.
I'd go back in their kitchen or wherever, it doesn't matter, and do it on their, to their convenience. And I'd
Oh
love
yeah.
that.
Yep. And then there is another one I've been keeping from you, but I'm
Uh-oh.
going to use it as a segue into our next segment here.
Mhm.
Up in North Conway, New Hampshire, which is very famous for the skiing. It's right next to Jefferson, New Hampshire. Which, if you ever see, there is the covered wooden bridge in Jefferson.
Okay.
That is an iconic bridge, iconic photo, especially during the winter and fall months with the
Mhm.
snow and the colored leaves and everything. But in North Conway, there is a store called the Christmas Loft.
Okay.
Amazing,
Is it really?
amazing.
Sounds like me.
There's videos on YouTube from it that you can check it out. Multiple rooms. The building's huge.
Mm.
Multiple rooms. Each one is like a different design, different genre. Like some are more the classic, glass ornaments, while some are the crystal like, but there's many different rooms. There's one room that is just Christmas villages. Man, um, they'll have everything from a New Hampshire, you know, Christmas village to, the Dickens style.
Right. Right.
Um, Heck, they even have a Nightmare Before Christmas village.
Do they really?
Oh,
Okay.
they have everything. But
Mhm.
then in the middle of the store, they actually built a small, like, Dickens era town
Really?
with all animatronics and absolutely incredible.
So how big
Ab
is this place, man?
e I never looked to see the square footage,
Mhm.
but it's the building is massive. The
Mm.
building is massive. It had to be at one point like an old warehouse,
Okay.
or it was specifically built for this store.
Now
And
is it open year round?
yep, year round,
All right.
so that could be another stop to
Okay.
check out. But yeah, like I said, on that one, there's a bunch of videos on YouTube. Just search Christmas Loft, New Hampshire, and they'll all pop up. But yeah, they got some cool stuff.
Do they?
They
Okay.
got they got a lot of cool stuff, a lot of antique type stuff,
Mm-hmm.
um, like Christmas books and things like that through the ages.
Mm-hmm.
So from like newer publications, obviously, but Christmas stories from the 1800s, from those authors, things like that,
Okay. All right.
and everything from anything you need to do for Christmas, they have.
Okay.
Just to narrow it down.
Well, that
But
sounds like
that
something we should do that as well if we get a chance.
Oh, absolutely, brother. And I know a great place up there we can stop for a burger.
Do you? Okay, that's all. That's the most important part.
That's
You know,
it.
where we're going to eat,
Um,
man.
but leads me to your second podcast,
Mm-hmm.
the North Pole News Dispatch.
Yes. Yes. That's my.
What made you start that, and especially being in the Christmas genre?
Well, you know, dude, I'm a huge Christmas fan or nut or whatever you want to say. I listen to Christmas music year round, but I don't. I listen to like jazz trios in the off season.
Hmm.
It's not the Christmas season. But I'm just a huge Christmas fan, and um, I was I got into that because I was out. It was like on September, no, July or August. I was out washing my motorcycle out in the driveway, and it was really hot. And I was like, I just feel really Christmassy today for some reason. So I said, let me see if there's any Christmas podcasts. So I found one, and it just happened to stumble across one called Christmas Clatter, and it's by our friend, uh, Todd Killian.
Yep.
And Todd's another great guy. Him and Steve Ray, man, two of the best guys in the world. But yeah, so I started listening to it and really liked his style. And it was just easy to listen to, and it felt really homey and warm. And started listening to that, and I was like, you know, I'd I'd like to get to know Todd and uh, and talk to him maybe about doing a what he thought about me doing a Christmas podcast. So I contacted him, and he said, "Yeah, it would be a good idea." But we had to come up with an idea because so many people was already doing Christmas
Yeah.
podcasts. They had everything covered. The Christmas music, the movies, the traditions. And then one day I was watching the world news, and I said, nobody's reporting on the Christmas news. And so I ran that by Todd. He said, "Yeah, that'd be a good idea, I think." So, um, to get in the Christmas podcast world, it's a fun community to be
Yeah.
around. Everybody's happy and uh, positive. So, um, so that's the topic I decided on was the Christmas news. And then I got to thinking about it because, I'm a creative guy, man. I used to paint and draw a lot, and I kind of got burned out on that. But, like if I'm just reporting Christmas news, just reading articles, I'm going to get really bored with that. That's not going to be
Hmm.
fun. So, um, on the North Pole News Dispatch is the name of the podcast. And the first, I divide the podcast into two different segments. Like the first segment is the village news, and it's all fictional. The first part of
Yeah.
it, I get to use my imagination, my creation
Yeah.
there. And the first part of it, I have characters that live in the magical North Pole village, and one of them comes up to see me every week, Elf Jacob. He's always telling me Christmas jokes, so I tell his jokes over there. And there's stores there that I've created in the North Pole Village.
Elf Andy's Fix It Shop,
Yep.
and
Elf Andy, he's a sponsor of the Village News. Elf Andy's Fix It Shop, and then I got a Elf Arthur. His family owns the Crafty Cobbler. They're a shoe store there,
mhm.
and so you know, uh, So I get to use my imagination on that part.
Yeah.
And then the second half of the show is the Christmas and festive holiday news portion of the show, and that's actual news articles that I find, and I read those over the airs. It's just stuff like, and it's all mostly small town stuff that never makes the headlines. Because I think that I want to keep a homey feel,
Yeah.
a warm, slow paced. Because I'm pretty slow paced, and so the show is comfortable for me to do. But it's usually like parades or tree lightings in small towns, or they have fundraisers going on. That kind of stuff. But occasionally I talk about, big city New York Christmas and Chicago
Hmm.
and that kind of stuff.
Yeah. I laughed. Oh, I don't know if it was this latest episode. It was definitely within the past two episodes. And I know. Sorry, Ken. I
That's
just
right.
happened to look to my left, and I looked outside, and guess what?
What's
It's
it?
snowing.
Is it really?
It is snowing.
All
Holy
right.
cow!
Yeah.
And they're the big flakes too.
No way.
Wow. It was only supposed to rain throughout the day, so that just got interesting. Um, but yeah, like I said, this is recorded. So normally, if we'd live, and even when this premieres tomorrow night,
Mhm.
this particular gentleman will be in the chat, and I use the term gentleman very loosely.
Mm.
Is my good friend Kent Vanderweer, Daddy Dutch. Hi,
Mhm.
Kent, and you had some news in the last episode or two from his hometown of Lamar's, Iowa.
Really?
Yeah, it
Okay.
was it was I think it was like a holiday parade or something going on. So I just giggled that Lamar's, I know where that is,
Yeah.
you know.
Yeah. It's funny because I've had a couple people email me and say, "Yeah, that's in my hometown, and thanks for talking about it." And
Yeah,
I give people the opportunity. I say on there, if somebody in their hometown has even their surrounding area, if there's an event or something going on that they want me to talk about on the air, man, just email me. Email me, send me a message, Facebook, Instagram, and I'll talk about it. I'll look it up and talk about it. So,
yeah, it's interesting. And like I said, I absolutely love it because it was very similar with me on as far as the Christmas podcasts go.
mhm,
Obviously, I'm a mailman, so I'm out on the street all day long, especially during the holiday seasons.
mhm,
But and that's all I do is listen to podcasts. And I had the same thought. Let me see if there's any Christmas ones. And searched it up, and that was the first one also that I listened to was Todd's Christmas Clatter.
mhm.
And it's great, and he's a great guy and fellow letter carrier, so
That's
we
right.
feel each other's pain,
Yeah.
you know. But with yours, like you said, you have well, actually, anybody's podcast, they got full reign. But I just love how you mix, like you said, the the regular news of everyday reality
Mhm.
and that fictional fun aspect of it.
Right.
How much time does it take to do an episode? Like, obviously right now, we're going to run, an hour and 15,
Mhm.
or 45 minutes, all depending on how the conversation went. We just, we go along, with some notes, but you're really kind of scripted on, the fictional aspects of it.
Yeah.
How long does it take to come up with, almost, I hate to use script because it's not a script.
Right.
It's what you do is extremely artistic.
Yeah. Well,
How long does it take to put an episode together?
man, I'll just I don't know. It'll take a couple hours, something like that, to put it together. But that's not counting uh, like I have to find the news and actually read it. And I started out reading the news, and a lot of those people that write the articles aren't necessarily, uh, I guess it's hard to read. They're not really smooth in their writing. So I have to reword a lot of the articles. So
Mhm.
I spend quite a bit of time doing that. But the creative part of it comes pretty easily for me, really. A lot of times uh, I'm not doing it on the fly. I'll think about it when I sit down to record. It's like, okay, so what is F Jacob doing this week, or what is F Christie going to be doing, or and this is something else, man. So this is where the time comes in. Is like if you listen to this podcast, uh, if you listen to the podcast, you're gonna know me as a person because I put so much of myself into it. For
Mhm.
instance, love to bake cookies and pies and cakes. So I created F. Holly at the Jolly Bakery, and she specializes in cakes, pies, and pastries. So whenever you hear her talking, or whenever I taste test something from F. Holly that she brings me from the bakery, it's actually something that I've made. And a lot of times it's to be the first time I've made it, and I'll actually be tasting it live on the air there,
Mhm.
giving you my opinion on it. So, that's me. I love to bake and cook and stuff. So, another thing is, so I spend time doing that. I have to make the cookies or the cakes or whatever, find the recipes, something I want to try, and then so I spend time doing that. But also another portion or another section on there is today's Christmas spin, which is vinyl records.
Mhm.
I have a vinyl record collection, not just Christmas. I have a pretty good Christmas collection as well. Is just everyday music. But so I listen to vinyls, man, and I'll give my review on an album on there called Today's Christmas Spin. So if you listen to the show, you kind of learning who I am as a person as well.
Mhm.
And the podcast, man, is like, in today's world, there's enough meanness and stress and anxiety out there, no matter where you go or what you do. And this podcast is a reflection of me. The podcast is not really, it's not fast. It don't move fast. I'm from the South. I talk slow. In the South, we generally move a little bit slower. Um, unless a bear's after us, we move fast even if we need to. But but the podcast is just a warm, safe place to go to.
Yeah.
It's not gonna be overly exciting. It's gonna be something you can listen to and de-stress. And I've had several people tell me, I fall asleep listening to your podcast. I hope that didn't make you mad, but I said, no, that's a compliment for me
Mhm.
because if you can fall asleep listening to my podcast, then I've done my job because
Okay.
I want it to be relaxing and laid back and, just a reflection of who I am and, the way I was raised and everything. So if you
Yeah.
listen to it, that's what you're going to get.
Yeah. And
Well, I don't know if I answered the question, man. I get to
oh,
get to
you
talking
you did. You
now.
did. Like I said, there's a lot of work that goes into your
Mhm,
podcast, which, my hat's off to you because, like you said, it's a few hours of straight work.
mhm.
And within it too, you have little sound clips that are fun. You have the old time, news, the dee 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 dee,
Yeah,
like there's
yeah,
stuff coming in the airways. Then
yeah,
you got the sounds of, the sleigh bells, and ho ho ho, and you
yeah,
joke that Santa's, working out the deer and he's buzzing the tower at
yeah.
the radio station, and just all types of so much fun stuff.
Yeah, well, I appreciate it. I love it whenever I talk to people that they get that gets what I'm trying to do, and it's like people either love it, and they message me and tell me, or I don't hear anything from them,
Hmm.
'cause it's probably not their style. Because different strokes, different folks, and I always preach that you like what you like,
Yeah,
and a lot of people they either love it or they just it's just not their cup of tea, but.
yeah.
But
But yeah,
it
that's
but I really enjoy it, man, and it does. I said a couple hours, sometimes it takes longer, it just depends on what I got going on and, um, putting it together, and you know how it is when you do a podcast, there's editing that goes into it and, uh, you know
no, yeah. There's a lot of behind the scenes stuff that people don't know, or um that go with it. But
Mhm.
you also had started a Facebook page for the North Pole News Dispatch,
Yeah. Mhm.
which is great because you can catch, the news, and you post the different articles and stories from the
Mhm.
news section. But as far, the you also post the recipes too, which
Right.
is great. So the different cookies and cakes, and
Mhm.
this past one you had a creamy blueberry pie
Yeah, that
that was
one's
sounded
amazing.
interesting.
It's amazing, and I still haven't posted the recipe yet, and that's something else I do at the taste test. I'll usually read the recipes on the air.
Hmm.
And but I end up posting them on social media too. And I hadn't got that one posted yet. I need to get it posted. But that's a really good pie, man. If you want to make a good blueberry pie and impress somebody, make that one. That
Yeah,
I think that one will hold up anywhere.
yeah. And on the Facebook page, you also have the spin of the day.
Hmm.
You'll show which album you're doing and listening to. On as far as the records go, I know you talked about it um, on yours, and I think you also might have talked about it when you were on with Todd. But you have a special collection of, I guess they were only available at a tire shop.
Oh yeah, yeah. That's the Bridgestone.
Yeah.
The old Bridgestone collection vinyls. Yeah, they were from back in the '60s, man. They were, you could only get them at tire shops, but I remember my dad got one at a gas station once, I guess because they sold tires there as well.
Mhm.
But, yeah, they were, Bridgestone got into putting out Christmas albums, and there's 7 they put out 7 different volumes, and I happen to get all 7 volumes, but they're just classic, man, classic old American Christmas music. So it's just but the album covers are very colorful, and
Yeah.
it's just traditional Christmas music.
Now, is it, as far as like the artists go, is it kind of, I hate to put out anybody, but were there's some of them, like known artists, like a Bing Crosby, Frank Sinatra, Dean Martin.
Now those guys never got on the Bridgestone. They were uh, the most popular one was Julie Andrews
Okay.
back in the day, because they got her on there, and at the time she just come out with not Gone with the Wind. What was it? Oh Lord, The Sound of Music. She
Yeah.
just came out with that movie back then, and she was huge. She was huge, and they were able to land her to get her to record on that Christmas album. She did one whole volume, the whole volume.
Oh, okay.
But, but these albums, man, they have big orchestras in there, and it's not like Christmas tunes like Rudolph or any of those kinds of things. It's just big orchestra musics and just big productions. And but Julie Andrews is probably the most popular. household name, I suppose,
Okay.
as far as that goes. But yeah, back then, man, they had different companies would have to do these promotional Christmas albums, and I've got one. Had 3 volumes, and I just got all 3 volumes, and I need to do a spin on those. But from Kentucky Fried Chicken, they,
Really?
yeah, man, they actually put out. I think it was like 71, 72, and 73, and they're pretty rare. And I was able to run down all three volumes. Now those have more. I forget who's on there, but they have more household names like Frank Sinatra and those kinds of people
Okay.
on there. But I need to do a spin on those. But I
Oh,
I
that's
just
cool.
happened to stumble across that. I'm like, you're kidding me. So then I got the with the wonderful eBay and all that stuff. I was able to run them down.
Oh, that's wild. I'd never heard about this because I was, like I said, I was fascinated with the tire store ones, and
Mhm.
trying to pick them all up, or going to local thrift stores and antique
Yeah,
stores to
and
run to see what those have, because you can find some real gems in those old places that have the records.
you sure can, and that's the way I got the final ones for the Bridgestone collection. I was with Todd. Todd not Todd Key and I we over the years we become friends. We met through podcasting in the Christmas community, but we become really good friends. And I went out to visit him, and me and him and his wife Holly, we'd gone to Cape Girardeau, which is a little town right outside of where he lives, and there was an antique store there. We went in there looking around, but they had this great Christmas section there and Christmas albums, and got to digging through there and found several of those that was in there. So they completed my collection.
Oh, that's
So it was
awesome.
great, and they were dirt cheap too. So that's a good thing about if you collect Christmas albums like vintage. Uh, they're usually really cheap, and they're in good shape because they only get played a couple times a year usually. So
Yeah,
so
good
they can
point
be
on that.
old and still be in really good shape.
Oh, that's a great point right
Yeah.
there. Oh man, that's awesome. Um, but like I said, that was you know, the the vinyl records
Mhm.
collection that I wanted to touch base on. But
Yeah, and I had something that was pretty neat happen to me, just about a month ago. I had a guy from LA contact me. He has uh, is a 45 RPM vinyl that he came out with, and it's called, Ugly Sweater Time, and it's by a group called the Sweaterettes. But this guy, has been throwing, I think, 16 years now. It's the longest running and largest ugly sweater party in LA.
oh, no kidding.
Yeah, which is kind of odd, but he actually sent me a copy, a physical copy, wanted me to do a review on it on the North Pole News Dispatch.
Oh, that's right. You talked about it the last
Yeah.
episode because I did the search on I think it was Spotify. And I screenshotted it so I didn't remember the name.
Mhm. But
Yeah,
but the
Ugly Sweater Time.
Ugly Sweater Time, that's what it is, yeah. And so, he wanted me to give her my review on it, and I thought, "Well, that's so cool because it's just a hobby for me, something to do," and so I guess he thought well enough to it's promotion too, I realize that, but it was cool that he sent me a physical copy, and,
Yeah, that's awesome.
I never expected that, but if anybody else out there wants me to they got a record they want me to listen to and review, I'll send it to me, I'll be happy to do that. But it was fun, man.
Awesome. Awesome, brother. Um now if I'm not mistaken, you actually do the North Pole News Dispatch all year long.
Yeah, I do. I just do, I do it once a month, but during the months of October, November, and December, try to do two episodes.
Mhm.
because there's only so much Christmas news to go around,
Yeah.
you know, and it gets thin during the off season until uh, we celebrate Christmas in July, and once that happens, then there's plenty of news. But the from January through July, it gets kind of thin. It's different types of Christmas news. It's news like uh, what people do, creative things with their Christmas trees, with their live Christmas or real Christmas trees afterwards. Like they make fish attractors with them. They actually up there around your area, somewhere on the beach, man, up there, they've to help beach erosion. They'll take
Yeah.
those Christmas trees up there and tie them together and bury them, and to help with beach erosion. Just stuff
Yeah.
like that. There's
Building the dunes and stuff out
yeah,
of them. Yeah.
exactly. And so the news kind of changes during the off season. Report some on Christmas tree farms, what they're doing in the off season, that
Mhm.
kind of stuff.
Yeah.
But
And if
but I just do that once a month, but it keeps me busy the time I do that. And then, and I'm doing faces to places, and Todd and I's got another one. We started just doing the audio version of it,
okay.
and we're going to kick it up again at the end of February, but we're going to be doing a YouTube. It'll be a live YouTube thing, kind of like his show Christmas Clatter is,
Yeah.
but it's called On the Porch, and it's just me and Todd sitting there just shooting a breeze, man, and talking about anything and everything. It's no script, no plans, no anything.
Oh,
And
interesting.
yeah, yeah,
And is the
because when we talk, we get to talking, man, and both our minds. we, there's no telling what we'll talk about. We'll start out talking about one thing, and then 5 minutes later, it's like a whole different topic. So we just said, let's make a podcast out of that. So we started that, and then like, well, let's rethink this, and so now we're going to do a YouTube live starting in February.
oh, nice.
Yeah,
Now, obviously, I missed that one, but is that one available on the audio
yeah,
for the couple episodes you have done?
yeah. Caught on the porch. I don't know how many
Oh, cool.
episodes. We went ahead and recorded some more, but once we decided to change different directions, we just didn't go in a different direction with it. It didn't post the rest of them. Can you find it on there? I mean, there's several on titled "On the Porch,"
Yeah.
so we may have to rethink that too. I don't know,
I'm trying to
or we'll just
see.
roll with it.
Was can you describe
It's got like a sun,
the
like a sun.
sun? Okay, there it
Mhm.
is right there. Is a podcast where two friends sit down and have casual conversation about anything and everything under the sun, from discussing. Hold on, hit more. Discussing their favorite TV shows and sharing their latest travel experiences. Ken and Todd share their thoughts and opinions on a wide range of topics in a relaxed and informal setting. The porch setting provides the perfect backdrop for their conversations, adding to the cozy and laid back vibe of the podcast. Oh, that's awesome, brother.
Yeah, yeah, and it's just and we're gonna do it live. So hopefully we'll have some people in the chat that can, we'll talk about things, and uh, in this world today, man. Like I said, like about my North Pole news dispatch. A lot of people just need a safe place to go and just de-stress.
Yeah.
Just de-stress, or like you said, while you're working, need something that's pretty calm and friendly and warm that they can listen to. That's what that'll be.
Oh, that's awesome.
Because we're both just laid back and um, you know, pretty calm for the most part.
Nice. Yeah, it says 11 episodes.
Is that what it was? 11.
Yeah.
We had some more, but then we're like, well, let's before we put those out, let's rethink this. So Todd come up with the idea of doing a YouTube live. So that's what we're gonna do. So that's our plans, anyways.
Cool, cool. Man, I apologize that I didn't know about it. I
Well,
know about the rest of them, but
we didn't. we didn't really tell anybody about that. We're like, I mean, let's just put it out there and see if we get a following, and
Yeah.
just naturally get a following. And we did. There was people started following it, and, but we didn't tell anybody because really, we didn't put it out there.
Mm-hmm. But at least I got something to. Well, I know what I'm going to be listening to once we get done with this, and I get this posted
All
and
right,
timed out for tomorrow night when I go outside and finish the Christmas decorations.
all right. Is it still snowing there?
It is.
Is it?
Let me see. No accumulation. It doesn't look like. But
Okay. All right.
yeah, that whenever I looked over, I went, "Holy cow!" Had the old squirrel moment there for a second.
I wonder what was going on.
Yeah, yeah, because I'm just wait a minute, just stop talking. And,
Yeah. Mhm.
oh, but that's good. But Ken, man, thank you so much. This was an absolute blast, my man.
Well, Johnny, thank you for having me on, man. I really enjoyed it, and I'm, anytime you ever want to talk again, just let me know. I'll be happy to come back and just hang out, man.
Absolutely, absolutely. So, where can everybody find you? Social media, obviously on the podcast, are Faces to Places and the North Pole News Dispatch, and those are available wherever podcasts are found.
All right, exactly. Yep, just anywhere you listen to podcasts, they're available. And if you have a place for Faces to Places, you can email me at facesToplaces@gmail.com. If you know of a place that you'd like for me to come and do an interview with somebody or talk to somebody. And the same thing with the North Pole News Dispatch. If you have something going on in your area that you would like for me to talk about live on the air, you can message me on Facebook or Instagram at Faces to Places. Excuse me, at the North Pole News Dispatch, or email at the North Pole News Dispatch at gmail.com. And I'll get back with you.
Beautiful, brother. Well,
Man.
like I said, cheers. Thank you for the coffee in
You're
the
very
mug.
welcome.
Appreciate it.
You're very welcome.
Merry Christmas. I know we'll talk before Christmas. We got
Mm.
3 weeks before the big day. But like I said, man, thank you so much for taking the time. This has been so much fun. Keep up what you're doing. I absolutely love it. I hope more people will tune in to check it out and really enjoy what you're doing. Like you said, there's so much negativity and lack of good news out there on the news.
Mm-hmm.
So if the North Pole News Dispatch brings a little, some happiness, a smile, and some relaxation, well, that's what it was meant to do, and you're doing a fantastic job with it, brother.
Well, thank you, Johnny. And also, man, the coffee there that you were just talking about, there's a reason that I like coffee and chicory other than the taste. But if you go back and listen, and if you listen to last February's episode, the Valentine episode,
Mm-hmm.
you can find out why I like coffee and chicory.
All right.
There's another reason besides the taste. So
I forgot that. I forgot that part. So this is the beautiful thing about me just being, live, and I can stop whenever the hell I want. So if I'm in dope and I forgot one of my notes, you have a vinyl collection.
Yeah.
But you also have a coffee pot / coffee percolator, depending on the year's collection. And it's quite the collection too.
Yeah, I have 52 percolators. And most of them are electric. And I know that's kind of a weird thing to collect, but my mom started that. And I guess she just got tired of collecting them and asked me if I'd take them. And I said, sure, I'll take them just to get them off her hands. And yeah, there's 52 of them. Most of them are from the 60s and 70s. And there's glass ones, there's metal ones, but most of them are glass. And, and I had those things, man. And I was looking at them one day because they're cool, mid-century modern style and everything in there. I said, "Let me see what this is about." And I looked up. I didn't even know how to make a coffee with a percolator, so I YouTubed it, and man, it made a great cup of coffee. Great. And see what happened. Do we have time to talk about this?
Oh, absolutely.
All right. See what happened was whenever Mr. Coffee
Mhm.
came out, those automatic drip. Oh, that was the rage, man, and that just blew, percolators right off the face of the earth pretty much. So it went, that turned all the way into the Keurigs that we use nowadays. And people forgot about percolators and how good they were because it's a little bit more trouble. It's kind of like a regular wood, grill versus uh uh darn a pellet grill.
Mhm.
It's a little bit more trouble, but whenever you get a coffee from a percolator, it's basically a pour over like you would get from a coffee shop because the water
Yeah.
water perks up and then it runs back down over the coals. I mean the coffee grounds. So it's a really pure tasting cup of coffee, especially if you make it in a percolator like a glass percolator,
Yeah.
doesn't have any of the metal flavors. But so I tried that and I was like, man, this is so good. So I just that's what I use now. I have one sit down on my counter I use every single day. And and so after that I started collecting the percolators myself, because they're just really cool pieces of Americana,
Yeah.
and you can find percolators from the 60s and 70s that are still going strong. Sometimes you can find them still in the box. I've got a couple that's
Yeah.
still in the box with all the instructions and everything.
Yeah,
So it's
and I agree that there's still a better tasting cup of coffee
mhm,
than the machines now, and like I was telling you, I stopped with the Keurigs. I liked them and I've used them for years,
mhm,
but I don't know if it's the amount of coffee we drink between me and my wife, and I kept up with the maintenance on it and the descaling of the machine, and it seemed like I could only get a year out of each machine.
mhm,
Come this time of year, I was buying a new one.
mhm.
And every year, Keurig, the wonderful people of they were, um, kept upping the price of each machine.
Yeah.
So it got to the point of it was like, okay, do I really want to spend $200 on a coffee machine? And we went back old school, and I forget which one we have up there. One of the Hamilton Bay, I think it is.
Mhm.
But it's the old school, just like the Mr. Coffee. It's you put
Yeah.
the grounds in the top and fill the basin with reservoir with water, and it brews it like that. And I have a cup, an old, I guess you'd call it a camping coffee pot, but it's the
Right. Mhm.
percolator style. You put it right over the coals, and
Yeah. Yeah.
man, what a cup of coffee that brews.
Yeah. Now I have a few of those, that are like stovetop
Hmm.
percolators, and the ones that I like are the old, oh gosh, what are the names of them? I'm sorry. But they're white and they have the blue corn flour on there, the Corningware. It's
Corningware, yep.
the Corningware, and those are made they're basically like a porcelain, but
Hmm.
that was invented from the nose cone or the bottom of, used to whenever the astronauts go into outer space, they would come back in with the parachute with the cone. You remember that? They would splash down in the ocean and
Yep.
all. Well, they had to they they came up with that, they w they put that stuff on the bottom of that cone, so when it would come back in from outer space, excuse me, going from cold to hot, it wouldn't burn up.
Hmm.
So they found out that they started out making those dishes, those casserole dishes out of that
Yep.
Corningware stuff because you could the thing was, the selling point was like you could make up, the casserole the night before, put it in the fridge, and then take it straight out of there, out of the cold, and put it right in the oven, and it wouldn't crack. It
Hmm.
wouldn't break on you, going from cold to hot. So then they started making percolators out of them too, and Man, they make a great percolator. Those old, and you see them around all the time. I guess most of them are from the 70s, but I've got 2 or 3 of those, and those are my favorite stovetop ones. Is the
Oh, that's
percolator.
awesome.
Mm-hmm.
But yeah, it was the coffee. It's and then whenever you told me about the collection, I'm like, oh, that's awesome.
Yeah, it's kind of an oddball thing to collect, but my mom started it for some reason, and she had them, and now I have them, and I'm still collecting, man. but
Hey,
but
nothing wrong with it, brother.
what's really cool, like our Christmas party we got coming up here at the house, I've got some larger ones, like 30 cup
Mhm.
percolators that are vintage. I've got one that kind of looks like it's from the 60s. Or the atomic era. It kind of looks like a spaceship, sort of. It has 3 wooden legs on it. It's a big chrome. The
Oh
pot's
wow.
chrome. It has like 3 wooden legs for stands, but they have to stand up. But it looks kind of like a spaceship, sort of. But
Oh wow.
I'll break that one out for the holidays. It's pretty cool to use that. You know, so
Cool.
there's all different kinds.
Oh, that's great. That's great. But yeah. All right. So I think we covered officially it all.
All right.
Yeah, I forgot about the
All right.
coffee pots. Darn it.
Yeah.
But yeah, Ken, like I said, thank you so much, my friend. Merry Christmas to you and the family. And guys, like I said, check out Faces to Places and the North Pole News Dispatch on both of them. Oh, and on now, go back and check out the On the Porch with last week's guest Todd Killian
Yeah.
and Ken. And it's great podcasts. A lot of work goes into them, and the creative, and check it out. Take some time, relax, enjoy. And but yeah, man, thank you so much. I appreciate it, Ken.
All right, Johnny. Thanks for having me on, man. And Merry Christmas to you and all your family.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, sir. Well, that's it for this week, folks. Thank you all for tuning in. Appreciate it. Like I said, check out Ken's podcast, Faces of Places, North Pole News Dispatch, On the Porch, and UncleSteveShake.com, all your shake needs. And the gift packs are available. Piece together your own. And yeah, that's it but until next week, keep the smoke rolling.